stop telling yourself you're lazy. You aren't lazy. Laziness is actually a word to shame people who are paralyzed. Think about it. When you're being lazy, you aren't actually relaxing. You aren't enjoying your time off. You're sitting on your phone, scrolling, and still your heart rate is high. You feel guilty. You feel anxious. And you're thinking about the work you should be doing. Does it sound like a laziness? No. That sounds like torture. If you were truly lazy, you would have been having fun doing nothing. But you aren't having fun. You're in a psychological state of high energy paralysis. And the reason that self-help advices like just do it or make a list has never worked for you is because you're trying to treat the psychological problem with some logical solution. And hopefully today we're gonna shift your perspective. We're going to stop fighting the laziness and start treating the root cause, which is your nervous system need for safety. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Alex, and today we're gonna talk about laziness. And you aren't lazy, you're just scared. Let's dive in. Here's the lie you've been sold.
You procrastinate because you lack discipline.
This is false. Actually, neuroscience tells us that procrastination isn't a time management issue, it's an emotional regulation issue. And your brain has two parts competing right now. Your prefrontal cortex, the logic part, which says we need to do this work to succeed, and the amygdala, the fear center, and it detects work as a threat. So why does your brain recognize going to the gym or doing the work as a threat? Because your ego, that task carries the risk of failure. It carries the risk of not being perfect. So your amygdala pulls the emergency brake, which triggers the freeze response. You know this feeling. You sat down to work and suddenly your brain goes blank, or you feel heavy, or suddenly you see the need to clean up your room or even check Instagram. And this is your body protecting you. It thinks that if you don't do the task, then you won't fail. And if you don't fail, then you're safe. So basically, you aren't lazy, you're just terrified. And honestly, you cannot discipline yourself out of the fear. You have to safety engineer your way out. And this is why most people stay stuck for years. They spend their 20s fighting their own biology and they lose. And on this channel, we don't do the hustle culture, we do biological optimization. If you want to learn how to engineer your mind to work for you and not against you, make sure you subscribe the channel and also like this video because that would help the channel to grow. Alright, so now let's go deeper. There is a second type of laziness that comes from identity. I call this the perfectionist paralysis. Many of you have high standards for yourself. You have even the main character energy. You have a vision of yourself that's successful, fit, and wealthy. But right now, in reality, you aren't there yet. And there is this gap between you and your vision. And looking at that gap just hurts every time you try to work and it's difficult. It reminds you that you aren't a master yet and it hurts your ego. So you put zero effort. Why? Because if you try 100% and fail, it proves that you aren't good enough. But if you try 0% and fail, you can say that, oh well, I didn't even try. So your laziness becomes a shield to protect your ego. You would rather be the smart person who's lazy than the hardworking person who failed. Let that sink in. You're protecting an imaginary version of yourself at the cost of your real life. So how do we shift this? How do we break the freeze response? We lower the stakes. We need to make the threat small enough that amygdala stops screaming. And here's the low stake protocol I use. Step 1, the bad draft rule. Give yourself permission to do one terrible job. Tell yourself that I'm going to write 200 words or I'm going to make one video and they're gonna be absolute trash. I'm going to go to the gym and only lift some baby weights. When you remove the pressure to be top 1%, the amygdala calms down. The freeze response will lift and usually once you start, you keep going. Step 2, operational momentum. Don't think about the outcome, just think about the friction. Physics says that object at rest stays at rest, and you need just enough force to move them. Nerd alert, that's first law of Newton, which is inertia law. Don't focus on finishing the project, focus on opening the documents. Don't focus on getting a six-pack, focus on showing up to the gym. So basically, instead of focusing too much on the end goal or the output, focus on the input. Step 3, dopamine detachment. Stop waiting to feel like it. Amateurs wait for a feeling, professionals operate on a schedule, and you need to separate your actions from your emotions. Treat yourself like a sim in a video game. The Sims video game, actually. If the command is work, you work. It doesn't matter if sim is tired, if sim doesn't feel like it. So next time you feel that heavy laziness creeping in, don't shame yourself. Pause, recognize it, say that my brain is trying to protect me, but I'm safe. Then lower the stakes. Do a bad job. Just start. Your action is antidote to your fear. And if you want to know the specific daily routine that I do to keep my momentum high, even when I don't feel like it, I broke it down on this playlist. So click here, stop hiding, and start building. Thank you so much for staying with me till the end of the video. I really appreciate you. Take good care of yourself and see you in the next one. Bye bye.